In this set of videos, I'm going to show you how you can transfer a fully functioning WordPress site from one domain to another domain. And this is the source WordPress site that we're going to be moving, and aptly titled, this is the original site. And this is the domain that it's currently on. This is the domain that I'm going to be moving it to. Now this process will work whether you're transferring from one web host to another web host, or if you're moving from a local host to a web host, or vice versa. Just so happens that this domain is on one hosting service and this domain is on a different hosting service, which can be a bit of a problem in some cases. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Now I've already logged into the cPanels of both of these, and the potential problem lies in the versions of the PHP and the MySQL databases. This is the destination version. For PHP is 5.4, MySQL is 5.5. This is the original or the source cPanel, where I've got PHP is 5.4 and MySQL is 5.5. Exact same thing. So there should not be any problem whatsoever here. Now this third set of numbers is not that big of a deal. Actually, where it can cause some compatibility issues if you are moving from, let's say, a PHP version 6 to a version 5, or vice versa, or from a 7 to a 5, or from a 5 to a 7. Basically, we're mainly concerned with the first digits here. If the first digits of both the MySQL and the PHP is the same in both the destination and the source, then you should be problem-free. Now, I've broken this process down into a few steps. Step one is just a bit of organization, and that is to create a folder on our desktop to hold all of our files, which I've already done. Right here. It's our working folder in the desktop. Okay, so we're moving right along. I already got one step done. Next, we're going to access our cPanel for both the source and the destination, which I've just done. So we've got that checked off as well. Step 3 and 4, we're going to select and compress all the items to be moved into a single zip file. That's in the source cPanel file manager, as well as in the source PHP My Admin, we're going to export our database. Okay, so for steps 3 and 4, we need to access our cPanel control panel, come on into File Manager, and we want to select all the files and folders that make up our WordPress site. So in this case, all I have to do is click on Select All. If you had additional folders in here, like maybe an image folder that had images tied into your WordPress site, you would want to include that as well. If you have any other files or folders that are associated with your WordPress site, or that you think might be associated or tied into your WordPress site, go ahead and select those as well. You can always delete them later once everything's moved over to your destination. So with everything selected, click on Compress, choose Zip, and I'm going to just name this site.zip. You can name it anything that you want, and then click on Compress Files. And it was really that easy. Now let's go ahead and select that and click on Download and navigate to our newly created folder on our desktop, which is Working Desktop, and click on Save. Now while that's downloading, and it shouldn't take too long, it's not a real big file, let's come on over to our PHP My Admin and select the database that's associated with that WordPress site and download it. And if you've got multiple databases here and you're not sure which one goes to that particular WordPress site, well, let's go on back to the File Manager, go into the wp-config.php file. I'm going to go ahead and select that and View. And you see right here, it's the WP496. WP496. Close that up. Come on back here, WP496. So that's the one. Go ahead and select that over here on the left side, and then it's going to populate all the stuff or tables over here on the right side. At which point we come on up here and click on Export. And the default settings are just fine the way they are. If it says SQL, you're good to go. Click on Go. Navigate to the location on your computer where you're storing all this stuff, and click on Save. Our site zip file is now downloaded, and our SQL file is also downloaded. So we can get rid of that, close out our PHP My Admin, and we're done with the file manager here for now. And let's look at our steps. We've compressed all the items and downloaded to our computer. We've gone into the PHP My Admin and exported that to our computer as well. This is our destination domain, and if we refresh this, we can see it's just a blank screen right now. And I've done that just as a security precaution, if nothing else. Through my file manager, you can see that I've got a blank index.html file in there. So we go ahead and select that and delete it. And come on back to our domain and refresh. You can see that this is what pops up when I don't have that blank index.html file there. So that's why I've got that there, or had that there. So at this point, where are we at on our steps? 5 and 6. So now we're going to upload our site zip file. And while that's uploading, we're going to create a new database. Let's go ahead and do that now. So we're in our empty file manager and click on upload. Click on choose file and navigate to our zip file that we downloaded in the previous video right here. And while that is uploading, we're going to come on back to our Cpanel control panel. Come on down to MySQL databases, and you can use either one of these, the normal database or the database wizard. I'm going to use the wizard, it's a little bit easier. And we want to give it a name. You can name it anything that you want, and then click on next step. And now then we want to give the username any name that you want. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to go ahead and name the user the same as the database. Then I'm going to use the password generator to generate a nice strong password. I'm going to copy that to my clipboard and then check this box here saying that I've copied it to my clipboard. And then click on create user. Now I want to record that in a blank text document because we're going to need that here in just a second. So here's the password. And let me go ahead and record these as well. Make sure you don't have any ghost blank spots on either end there. Okay, so now then at this point, I want to check this box here to assign all privileges to that new user, and this also assigns that user to this database. Then we want to click on next step, and that's it. Ta-da, we're done. So at this point, step 5, we are uploading the site zip, and in step 6, we've created our new database, and we've noted the database name, database username, and the password for that new database. Steps 7 and 8, let's go ahead and check on our upload process. It is complete, so we're going to go on back to our file manager. We're going to select that newly uploaded zip file and extract. Click on extract file. Click on close, and let's go ahead and select that now that it's been extracted and deleted. So we no longer need it. And step 8, we want to open up our config file and change out the database name, username, and password, because currently it is pointing to the old database name, username, and password. So here we are. Select that, and you can come on up top here and select the code editor or edit, or you can just right click on the file and do the same. I'm going to go ahead and use code edit because it's got the numbers over here. And this is the password. And I'm only changing the information in between the single quotes. Make sure you leave those single quotes intact. Likewise for the database name and username. And then click on Save and Close. We're going to knock out steps 9, 10, and 11. And we want to open up our original or source database and make a few edits. We want to use the Find and Replace feature to locate all of the original URLs that point to our original domain and change that or replace that with our new or destination URL. Let's go ahead and do that now. Here's our original or source database file. I'm going to go ahead and right click and open that in Notepad++. You can actually use any text editor, but I just like the way that Notepad++ works, so that's what I'm going to use. And we want to come up here to search, replace, and in the find what location, I want to put in the original or source URL, and I want to replace that with the new URL. And you want to make sure you do not have the trailing slash on either one of these. And then let's go ahead and click on replace all. 951 items were replaced, so good. Click on close. Click on Save. Now ideally, and yeah, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but whenever we downloaded these files, the originals should be put away in another location so that if something screws up along the way, we've got originals that we can pull back into our working folder and make adjustments to. But that's just a safety precaution. I mean, we still have the original site intact, so push come to shove, we can always come on back here and repeat those first several steps. But speaking of steps, let's go ahead and review our steps again. Where are we at? Step 9 is complete. We've done the find and replace thing. Step 10 in the destination cPanel, we want to import our newly edited database tables. Okay, so here's our file manager. We really don't need this yet. And in the cPanel here, let's come on down to phpMyAdmin. Select our new database, and it's blank. Come on up here to import and click on that. And then click on choose file and then navigate to the location on our computer where our newly edited database is located. And right here that is. Click on open and then click on go. The default settings should be just fine, and it not being a huge file, it shouldn't take very long. And through the magic of video editing, it'll take even less time. Okay, everything is uploaded and everything looks fine. Okay, so we're good to go there. So we finished up step 9, we finished up step 10, last and by all means not least, step 11. Come on back to our domain, uncross our fingers and refresh. Ta-da! Everything's working just perfectly. And let's go and check out the contact us form, make sure everything's working. Okay, so far so good. And the menu is working fine. Going back to the home page. And it looks like everything's working just great. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video on transferring our WordPress site from one domain to another. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day.